That sounds like a lot of people.
Yeah, the studio is full here today. We are full live here on W Smooth 90.5 FM. Well, thank you very much for giving us a call today. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing great, thank you. Greetings from Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, Maryland. Oh, wow. So I know you probably got some nice weather up there, right?
We're okay so far. We getting into the cold weather, but we're okay so far.
All right. We have author, playwright, actor. I don't know what else to say, but we have Mr. Daryl Owens live on the phone. Tell us about your up-and-coming event that's coming up, your play. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have a gospel stage play coming up on actually New Year's Eve. It's a stage play called Let There Be Light, and it's actually about a married couple who are kind of like the social couple who like to go out and hang out in the club, drink, and party and all that kind of stuff. And but then at some point, the husband decides that he wants to change his lifestyle, and he gives his life to Christ and starts living a Christian lifestyle. So now he's having conflict with the wife who does not want to give her life to Christ or live a Christian lifestyle. So it's kind of the conflict of one lifestyle versus the other.
Okay. So what was it that gave you the inspiration to writing this particular play? I'm sure you're a veteran of writing plays, and are you a director? Are you a playwright? Which hat are you wearing at this present time?
This one, I'm wearing a couple of hats. I always wear the playwright hat. I'm also a director, so I write and direct all my own work. And I'm also an actor as well. I started out as an actor, actually. And so in this production, I'll be acting as well. So I'll be wearing 3 hats in this one.
Okay.
And so, but the inspiration was just basically because I think a lot of people have a misconception of what the Christian lifestyle is and what being saved is, and somehow they seem to think it's a prison sentence and that they can no longer have fun and these kind of things. And so the play addresses that as well.
Right.
And it also addresses what I like to really say is the power of God's word, because what happens in the play, there are a couple of characters who try to talk to the husband to try to convince him to turn away from the Christian lifestyle. But in the conversation with the husband, the husband's testimony ends up turning them to the Christian lifestyle.
Okay.
So it was a comedy / drama, so I think people are really going to enjoy it.
So your play is basically a comedy and / drama event. Am I correct?
That's correct, absolutely.
But your overtone is mainly gospel.
It's probably 50-50. I love writing gospel because that's just a part of who I am, but I also like writing dramas because that's just something I find very interesting to write. I think the whole idea of people having, unresolved conflict and old jealousies and family dynamics and things like that is always something interesting to write. And I think people relate to it on just about every level. So it's usually either going to be a gospel stage play or it'll be some kind of family type drama that I write about, which, even in the family drama, I usually have some type of, spiritual, content in it as well.
Wow. Wonderful. So is this a full production play, or is it, how is it going?
This one is actually going to be a 90-minute play. My preference when I usually do full plays is to do a 2-hour production. We're actually doing this one as an event for a local church here in Maryland. We did a play for them last year for New Year's Eve. They actually have a dinner theater, and so they invited us to come back again this year. And so last year we did an hour program. This year they've extended it, so they wanted to do a 90-minute program. So that's what we're going to give them. But we're going to still mount it like a regular production. But my preference usually when I do my own is to at least do a 2-hour production.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, let me ask you, I've had several playwrights and directors for yesterday call in, and I'm sure your colleague, Mr. Victor Gully, has gave you some heads up about the station. So we're talking with people and letting them know, even though you might not be in Chicago, Oklahoma, Detroit, Boston, people need to get out and feel the true essence of what a play is all about, because movie theaters are no longer they're dying out like malls.
Right.
And
absolutely.
it's bad enough that we have to take it to the level of talking about everyday life experiences, from molestation to rape to abuse to what's going on in church. I had mentioned to another playwright, I haven't seen it yet, but I don't want to give out because I might need some credit for this. Another play called, guys sagging and bagging, and what is your thought about that? Do you, what is your age range for your plays? Are they more adult, older? Who are you trying to reach?
Well, usually it's usually all family generated for what I do. Every now and then I may do something that's a little more on. Well, I don't think I've ever done anything that's not something that you could bring the whole family to. There are times when I deal with a specific topic, it's a little more of a mature topic, but you could still certainly bring teenagers and young children to it as well. And just going back to what you said, I just want to kind of give a shout out to Victor Gully too, because I admire what he's doing in terms of getting theater out there. Like you said, I mean, I love movies because I love the arts, and I've been to a couple lately that I won't say the name of either because I was really disappointed in them. And so, but in terms of theater, yeah, I want to see theater get to a level too where people are excited to go to the theater, and they're excited to go because of the storyline. They're excited to go because of the actors, the performance, the whole production of theater. I would like to see people get excited about that again. So that's kind of the road that I'm on in terms of trying to what I write, what I try to produce in terms to entice people to come out. But it's usually all generally family oriented. But the actors tend to be adult actors more so than I use teenage actors. I would love to use more teenage actors. I don't seem to do it as well for some reason, keeping them interested. So any teenage actors out there who are interested, certainly get a hold of me. But for the most part, I use mostly adult actors, and not because I don't want teen actors. It's just I haven't had a lot of them available to me at the time I'm doing a production.
So if somebody wanted to get in contact with you and be a part of your production, how can they get in contact with you, and where at?
Well, the best way to get in touch with me is either, certainly if they want to contact me online, they can certainly visit my website. Actually, I have the Facebook page, which is under my name, which is Darrell Owens, and Darrell is spelled Derrell, last name Owens. Or they can reach my other website, which is actually Zion Word Productions at yahoo.com. Okay. Or the final way, they can reach me actually directly. They can call me by phone, which is 443-602-1599, and that's my theater phone number. They can certainly reach me there.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let me ask you, why is theater a dying craft? Do you feel that it's a growing craft or a dying craft right now?
I think it's still growing. I think the part that I view as the dying part, theater is very expensive. And for the most part, particularly if you talk about going to regional theater, Broadway, tickets are they're much more expensive than movie theater tickets. And so I think that's something that keeps people away from going to theater. Now, in terms of like community theater or self-producing, projects like I do for my own, I think it's a matter of just getting the marketing out there and get people. I think people get excited if they think that the project is something, again, that they relate to. Storylines about family, relationships, certainly spirituality, all things I think people relate to. So I don't think it's necessarily dying. I think the issue is more of the proper marketing and getting things out there, and then the exposure that the community has to it. But yeah, I think it's certainly getting better than worse.
Okay. Where do you see theater, black theater? And I put an emphasis on the African American black theater. Where do you see it going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I'd like to see it going.
Okay.
Specifically in terms of black theater, one of the things is just a personal choice of mine. I never write stories about gangs. I never write stories about drug users or illiterate children or people in jail. And that's not because that's not a part of our culture, or that's not a reality of part of our culture, but we have enough people telling those stories. And there's so many other stories about us. We're business owners, we're inventors, we're good fathers, we're good people, we're productive in the community, so there's so many other things to talk about our particular culture than that. So I'm kind of disappointed struggle sometimes when I see that most of the storylines, particularly for African American theater, tends to be those storylines. Someone's, in a gang, someone has a gun, someone's on drugs, someone's, poor and living in poverty. And that's, like I said again, that does not encompass the whole African American community. So anything that I ever write, the people are successful, the people are intelligent, and again, it's not that I can't write a character where someone may be struggling through some things, because we all do that as well. But I'm not trying to put out the image of, particularly African Americans, being lower class, that we're unintelligent, we're not educated, so I write my stories from the other end of the spectrum. So going, answering your question, going in the next 5 or 10 years for those playwrights who are writing African American stories, I would love to see them take out characters in a different direction other than the gangs, the jail, living on the corner, those kind of things, stereotypical, characters and things like that. I like to see us kind of move away from that. There's a place for everything, but like I said, there's just so much more to our stories to tell. So I like to see those stories, even on Broadway and regional theater. So there's room there too for us to tell all the other stories. I love Raising in the Sun, and I love August Wilson plays, but we've seen them so many times, and there's so many other stories out there to tell by other talented playwrights as well. So that's what I would like to see in the future. I would like to see other voices of Black playwrights getting their stories out there, and that the world can see other stories that we have to tell.
Wow, wonderful. So you're also an author. So what is the name of your book? Tell me about your book.
Well, it actually wasn't that, what you're probably referring to, it actually wasn't my book. There's a very good friend of mine who's the president of an organization that I belong to. I'm actually the vice president of an organization called A Good Black Man Incorporated. And again, that's what we do. We honor the positive things that Black men do. So she actually wrote a book called That Old Black Magic, and I actually co-wrote a part of her book, which addressed the use of the N-word. And so,
oh, wow.
So
okay.
I'm not the author of my own book, but that's probably what you're referencing there.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So are any of your productions going to be on TV or cable network or anything of that nature?
Well, I hope so. We're going to actually be coming to Chicago next year, which I'm really excited about, to do one of my favorite plays that I've written called The Family Mantle. And that was the play that really got things started for me, as a professional playwright.
Okay.
And so
where is this play going to be held at? Where is it going to be held at?
You know what? You would catch me on that one. I can't think of the name of the facility, but I promise I'll get that out to everybody. I know the date we're looking at is going to be October the 24th of 2015.
Okay.
October 24th of 2015 is what we're looking at. But that play originally, when I wrote it in 1999, and it actually won a particular major contest here in Maryland. So it was actually aired on ABC in February of 2000 in honor of Black History Month. So other than that, other than my own professional copies of DVDs that I have of my plays, other than The Family Mantle, that's the only one that still today shows on various Black colleges, TV networks, and things like that.
Wow, wonderful. I mean, your work, your craft is steadily growing, and we are very honored and happy that we have a chance to have Mr. Owens live on the phone here. We've been waiting. We've been playing phone tag back and forth and Tiffany told me, "Hey, Mr. Owens sent me a message this morning. He wants to know what time." So yeah, we've been waiting for you to call. So if a young student, do you prefer working with younger students that's in school, or do you take them just raw?
I actually have done both. I just was recently contacted by a school here in Maryland, and it's sort of like a charter school, and they're actually just developing an arts and performing arts department in their school. And so they've asked me, there's apparently students there who are interested in getting involved in theater and writing plays, and they're not experienced on the whole process. And so they've asked me to come in and kind of tutor them and give them some instruction and some guidance on the process. So I'm really looking forward to that. I love working with the younger adults. Like I said, again, I wish I had more opportunity to do it. And again, I think that's also an issue of a lot of young teens just not being exposed to theater. I think a lot of young kids haven't had an opportunity to see theater, but I think if they do, I think a lot of them will like it and fall in love with it.